Hello, Money Magicers. I am delighted today to be interviewing Monita Opperman, who I have already spoken about loads in our different modules because she's one of our superstar Money Magic success students, going from deeply in debt to now well on her path to financial fabulousness, financial freedom, financial abundance. And one of the reasons why I wanted to interview Monita now is because one of the things that's been most inspiring to me about Monita's journey is that she has really got inspired and empowered around tax as a way to create wealth. So I would love to know, and I'd love Money Magicers to know, Monita, what happened for you around tax that made you think, actually, this is a tool in my Money Magic toolkit that I can use to create wealth? Because most people think about tax like, oh God, the government wants my money.
So for me, it was, I could call him Uncle Richard, Uncle Robert Kiyosaki. When I read his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he said, one of the chapters were around taxes. And he said, the rich don't pay taxes. I'm like, what does he mean? What does he mean? I'm going to find out, because I knew he didn't mean that they are dodging taxes or earning less money so that they don't have to pay taxes. There was a legitimate way to be as tax efficient as possible, so you pay as little as possible. And that set me off on a journey to find how can I do that for myself.
And along that journey, what did you find?
That you can be tax efficient, and that that you don't have to limit yourself in terms of how much you earn so that you pay less tax. And I get that a lot with people. Oh, if I get an increase, I'm in a higher tax bracket, so I'm going to pay more taxes and be penalized. And they put a ceiling on themselves. And I said, how can I smash that ceiling and actually pay less taxes in different areas? So my tax efficiencies came in, what do I invest my money in? So I would seek out investments that had tax incentives. And then I started learning about the different incentives that I can use, to the point that, the 2022 tax year was my highest income earning year, and I paid zero tax, all legitimately.
You paid zero tax. So you work for a company, you get a salary, they pay you PAYE, and even your PAYE you didn't pay.
No.
What do you mean? You paid zero tax?
Yeah, that year my total income was 1.7 million, and I paid zero tax because I became as tax efficient as possible, and I chose investments that helped me get all my tax back.
So you actually had the tax man paying you money back in 2020.
Yes, yeah. All my PAYE came back to me.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to chat to you, for people to get this, because I know even I have a money block around, oh, if I get to that level in my business, then I'm paying more tax. Or if I get to this level in my salary, then I'm paying more tax. If I have more investments, I'm paying more tax. And it definitely is an itchy scratchy for me. I know that you've become so passionate about tax that you've even become a tax practitioner, and you're helping people with their taxes in South Africa, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
With some of the people that you're helping, what have you seen being the major money blocks or tax blocks that people come up against when they're thinking about tax?
Knowledge. Not having the knowledge and the empowerment around taxes, not understanding how taxes work, never even have seen their tax profiles and understand where things are. So by having that lack of knowledge, it feels disempowered. You don't even know where to start, or you have a tax accountant that, just ask for some bank statements and then tell you pay X amount to the tax man, but you don't actually understand what's going on. So it feels like, that the industry has kept people uneducated around taxes. I mean, we don't even learn how to fill in a tax return in school or in university. So there's a lack of knowledge, which then leads to people being so fearful around taxes. And that's, in my mission is to educate people. Let's look at your e-filing profile. Let's see how the tax tables work. By understanding how it works, you become more comfortable, you become more empowered, and you actually start enjoying, finding those tax savings, making sure you claim everything you can to pay as little as possible.
Yeah. So knowledge is one. Number two is definitely, I know if I hit a higher bracket, I see it in business owners, I see it in salaries, I see it in investments. Oh my goodness, if I get dividends in, if I have capital growth, if I get interest payments in, if I have rental income coming in, oh my goodness, I'm going to be paying more. And how do people get around that block? If I up level, if I break through my money ceilings, if I hit my affirmations about earning X amount per month, oh my gosh, like much more is going to be taken away.
Yes, so I mean, I always say taxes, this is great. Tax is a quality problem. It means you're making money. I know someone on our group posted around hitting $1 million mark, and in South Africa, that means you have to register for VAT. And it was a
if you're a company, right?
And otherwise, but yes, yeah, if you have a business. And it was a big deal for her because now she has to pay that. And then, I actually made her realize that she can put more money in her pocket by doing this, and that she should celebrate having reached that ceiling. So it's just shifting gears that, the tax implication means you're bringing in money. So your job is just to see, how can I be more tax efficient so that I make sure I pay as least amount of tax that I can possibly do. So the focus should be on how can I be more tax efficient, rather than capping yourself and say, I don't want to break the ceiling.
Got it. And so number one is celebrate the fact that you are breaking that ceiling, and yes, keep breaking ceilings, because the more you break ceilings, also the more money you can afford to pay for advice and spend time on knowledge and get more tax efficient, and suddenly be earning 1.7 million in a year and paying zero tax. So there are many people who are behind on taxes, haven't looked at their taxes. Tax is a big issue for them. It's a big sore point. They didn't even want to submit. They know they haven't submitted. They haven't submitted for years. They're ostriches with their head in the sand. Whether you're that type of person, or whether you're someone who just feels icky yucky about taxes every year, what are the first small micro movement steps that people can take to start being okay with tax and getting into it?
I think the first thing is around guilt. And I get that with people that are behind in taxes, that they're so overcome by guilt, they don't even want to share and talk to someone, and are embarrassed. And on that there are so many people like that out there. You are not alone. It's not uncommon. And I don't think any tax practitioner you'll speak to will be like surprised, oh my word, how on earth. It's common, but it hangs over you. It's something that you carry, and it's something you can't run away from. Eventually, you're going to have to face it. And the longer you leave it, the heavier the burden feels to actually get it cleared. I specifically love catching up projects, because the joy when you finally get that tax clearance and you're caught up and you feel empowered it's absolutely worth it, to give yourself that gift to be up to date and to know what you're going, understand your taxes and going forward.
And it's a bit like debt, and having debt hanging over you and feeling guilty or ashamed or embarrassed about debt, and then the relief that comes when you have an action and you plan and you get it, you do
Absolutely.
it. And even if you're not out of debt yet, just having that plan and taking action makes you feel so much better. And many of our money magicers at this stage of money magic have already felt that. Oh, I've got a plan. At least, if
Yeah,
nothing else, I might be in debt,
absolutely.
but I've got a plan.
Absolutely. And then the next thing is to know if there is several years, it's not like everything has to be done all at once. It can be broken down in years, and you don't have to, it doesn't mean you have to submit everything at once and pay everything at once. It can be done in little bite-sized chunks. So especially if you work with a tax practitioner that will guide you through the process, it doesn't have to feel like this is going to be this enormous task. So it can be broken down, but it's taking that first action, and saying, okay, past is the past, but what action step can I take to get this sorted?
And if someone's behind, you'd recommend to them to go to a tax practitioner, because that person can hold
Absolutely.
their hand and actually help them through it, rather than them just trying to do it on their own.
Absolutely. Look, in tax in general, unless you're, have a very simple tax return where you only earn a salary and maybe you have a medical aid, then it's easy to sort of navigate a tax return. And in many cases in South Africa, it gets assessed. Just remember, I also talk from a South African perspective. But when you have your own business or have multiple income streams or different investments and scenarios, then it is best to work with a trusted tax practitioner and finding someone that also you can work well with. Finding that person that can, speak the same language as you do.
And teach you and educate you, a bit like having a financial advisor, someone who can teach you and coach you and educate you, rather than just talking down to you or telling you, hey, I've done the work, here are the numbers, submit this, pay this.
Yeah.
You don't want
because that unfortunately keeps you uneducated and keeps you disempowered around your taxes when you don't actually know and understand, but what are we actually doing?
And now if someone is not behind, they are up to date, but they do want to get more empowered with, hey, like, oh my goodness, tax efficiency sounds amazing, and I'm just starting to invest, and yeah, my stuff might be a little bit more than just me earning a salary. How, what are their steps?
I think it's tapping into resources that can help you. For example, I don't know about other places, but in South Africa, we have a website called TaxTim that have amazing resources, and it explains every single tax type in such a great, understandable way with examples. So usually with South Africans, I send them to TaxTim to go learn, and these great calculators, and I'm sure there's something like that out there for every country, where you can actually go learn about the different tax areas that affect you. So finding resources that can, in the end, your tax is your responsibility. The taxman is not taking responsibility, no accountant or tax practitioner. So that education lies on you, and is your responsibility to make sure you get that education.
Monita, thank you so much for all of this input. Thank you so much for inspiring us about being empowered around tax. And thank you so much for your incredible love and commitment and support on the Money Magic community. I so appreciate you.
Thank you.